It is Wednesday today, so that means meteorologist Jacob Morse is here. You're telling us about something that will help keep us safe during severe weather.
Yes, most used or can be most helpful in summer severe weather season to alert you of tornadoes and severe thunderstorms when you're under those warnings, but it can be used year-round. It's NOAA Weather Radio. It broadcasts continuous weather information directly from the nearest National Weather Service office across a nationwide network of radio stations. You can purchase this NOAA Weather Radio for fairly inexpensive from a number of stores or online. The Midland brand is the most common one, and it broadcasts those watches and warnings, gives you alerts, especially when there's a tornado warning coming issued for your area. Tornadoes headed your way, you're asleep, your phone might be off. This NOAA Weather Radio is always going to be monitoring and therefore alerting you for these imminent threats that you have because of weather. But you can also get current conditions, short range and long range forecasts, climate summaries, and more. But especially helpful with power outages and just another part of your toolkit for getting weather information. This NOAA Weather Radio should be used in conjunction with getting wireless emergency alerts on your cell phone, with trusting us, and maybe having a weather call service that we offer to get these alerts. But we're going to send it over to John Paul Martin at the Weather Service to talk about the history of NOAA Weather Radio and its uses today.
Weather radio basically started in the year 1960. There were two locations that had weather radio coverage: Chicago, Illinois, and New York City, New York. And the reason it started there was you had ships, right, bringing in goods in and out of New York, in and out of Chicago for the Atlantic Ocean, heading over to Europe, or coming back from Europe, and also over the Great Lakes for ships. And so ships were having problems when they were unprepared. The captain was unprepared coming into the port. The ship was doing things in the wind it shouldn't. Maybe there was dense fog, that type of thing. In about 1970, it tremendously expanded to about where we had about 30 sites across the United States. And of course, it was the major cities that had weather radio coverage. The initiative for it really was in 1965, there was an outbreak of severe weather. It's called the Palm Sunday 1965 tornado outbreak. Over 100 people died in those tornadoes. There were 47 tornadoes that day, impacted 6 states in the Midwest. And as a result of that, the National Weather Service said, we need to find a way to get these warnings out to the people. So weather radio started to expand. We had another Palm Sunday tornado in 1994. And under the President Clinton administration, Vice President Gore was in charge of this initiative to expand weather radio coverage. The goal was get to about 95% coverage, which we are there today. And that's what prompted in North Dakota us going from 6 weather radio transmitters to 18, again, to cover more of the population. So of course, technology has allowed us to use a computer, right, to not only broadcast the weather radio message, but to record it. So it's no longer a human being who's recording the message. It's a synthesized, an automated voice that's doing that. But here, if we go back to the 1990s, this is the old weather radio console. And there's, for each transmitter, there's a console for that transmitter. So in this picture, we've got 4 of those. And that was to serve Dickinson, Bismarck, Minot, and Jamestown. And then Williston had a weather office then, so that weather office had a console to serve the Williston transmitter. Each of these transmitters had this 8-track tape. It would be blank. You'd wipe it clean, put it in the console, and you would record the current conditions, you'd record the forecast, and so on. And you'd have these tapes, one for each message, playing through the cycle. When it came to emergency weather, so for example, warnings, you would broadcast those live and record them at the same time, so that you'd broadcast live and then you can play that tornado warning over and over again in that cycle. Today, it's called the Broadcast Message Handler. And again, it's fully automated now. We can go live if we want to. We can go live, very rarely done though anymore. One thing technology has done for us is it has allowed us actually to get the warnings out to the public much quicker. Much quicker. By that I mean maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And you say 2 or 3 minutes isn't a lot. It is a lot when your life is on the line. That 2 or 3 minutes might be just what you need to get to your basement as that tornado comes through. So what I mean by that is years ago, we would type up the warning, we'd send it out, we would print a copy of it, we'd walk into the weather radio room on all those consoles, we'd take that 8-track tape, plug it in, and start recording. That was time being wasted. Today, the second we hit the transmit button, that warning is going out through the weather radio. Despite that increase in technology where it's more readily available today, weather radio is still a key component of the warning decision-making process, and getting the warning once that decision is made directly to your hands, or maybe I should say directly to your ears. We like to say that weather radio is the voice of the National Weather Service. The broadcast is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Anytime, any second of any day you want to know what's going on in the weather in your area, all you got to do is click the button on that weather radio and it's at your fingertips.
Across North Dakota tonight. And Thursday, the snow melt gets going in full swing with high temperatures in the 30s and 40s. This is NOAA Weather Radio Station WXL 78 in Bismarck, North Dakota, operating on a frequency of 162.475 megahertz. Providing weather information 24 hours a day from your National Weather Service office in Bismarck.
And I think the most critical use of weather radio is in life-threatening situations. Winter blizzards, summertime, severe thunderstorms, tornado, flash floods. You don't have to have it on and listening to the cycle to hear the warning. You could have it set to monitor mode. So that it's just sitting there monitoring, and if a warning is issued by the National Weather Service, it'll receive the code and activate the alarm and broadcast the warning to you. So you don't have to be, it's almost like if you could program a radio that when your favorite song comes on that radio station, the radio turns on. That's kind of what weather radio is for severe weather.
I love that analogy from JP there. And I have a couple of props here. This one is a pamphlet from 1998 when the weather radio network was drastically expanded to a bunch of different stations and provided that 95% coverage across the nation. But pretty interesting with all the different frequencies here. And then Henry was kind enough to bring in his weather radio. And again, you can hear that alarm that'll go off when a warning is issued for your location.
Yeah, they're great because watches, warnings, advisories, it does them all. And in the case of where our phone lines go dead, when the batteries go dead, we have backup.
Yep, always want multiple ways to get your weather alerts. And this is a very good one, and you can pick it up for not too expensive from a store or online.
Absolutely.
Great. All right, thanks, Jacob.
You're welcome.